Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Saturday, October 25th. Ian Cameron with you. Alex B. Smith will be here in just a moment, and we're ready to break down a huge Saturday in NHL action. We've got 13 games on tap, and looking forward to getting into that in just a moment. I was pretty much gone for most of the evening last night. I was attending the final Hamilton Tiger Cats CFL home game for the regular season. They put the Blue Jays Dodgers World Series Game 1 on the video board. So that's really where my focus was. For the first time in ages, I can honestly say I didn't watch any hockey last night. I didn't. So I'm not going to really belabor the recap today. Only to say that give Washington credit. A nice win against Columbus last night. The Toronto struggles continue, losing to the Buffalo Sabres 5-3. Clearly a team that's also struggling with the decimated blue line they're dealing with right now. Of course, Morgan Rielly and Chris Tanev both missing that game last night for the Leafs. And you can see they're just really, really loose in their own end at the moment. They're giving up odd man rushes. They're giving up breakaways. They're just losing coverage. It's a defense that's struggling. And when you're without two of your top players on that back end, Morgan Rielly and Chris Tanev, you're going to have issues. And the Leafs certainly had that last night against the Buffalo Sabres there. Disappointing to see the total fall short with San Jose, New Jersey. Got to give Askarov credit. He was very good. I think that's probably the best we've seen out of him this season in net for the Sharks. Finally, a little bit of a better defensive effort. We did cash San Jose to score in the first period, though, so we do get something out of that game. The Sharks got on the board with the first goal of the game. And Alex, I think that was his best bet, if I'm not mistaken. San Jose first goal, first period at plus 220. And that came through. Sharks getting the first goal, but that was all they would get as the Devils end up getting a 3-1 win against the New Jersey, or the Devils ended up getting a 3-1 win last night against San Jose. Calgary finally scores some goals. Problem is they lose the game still. 5-3 loss to the Winnipeg Jets last night. I guess it's somewhat comforting that we did see Calgary finally get on the scoreboard last night with a 3-goal outburst. And it is an outburst for them when they score 3 goals. Kadri on the power play. And how about Matt Robinson with Blake Coleman? Bargain bin special cashing in for him. And Alex B. Smith with Michael Backlund as a bargain bin special cashing in there as well. So how about that? 2 bargain bin specials last night coming through in that same game with Calgary and Winnipeg. We had the over, so it was good to see that. Our thought process was, we mentioned it yesterday, we figured if there's a spot Calgary's going to finally, put a puck or two in the net, it was going to be last night against Eric Comrie and Winnipeg. But the Jets getting 5, again, with Dustin Wolf, it's been a tough start. They finally score. So that's the problem Dustin Wolf runs into with calling out the players for not scoring the other night, saying, I can't put the puck in the net, I can't score. Well, they got you 3 goals last night, and you're going to allow 5. So, that's the issue. I mean, if you're going to make a public comment like that, I'd like to see yourself play better in that kind of a spot last night and not give up the 4 goals. The 5th was an empty netter. But like I said, it's just Calgary just can't get out of their own way. I mean, half the time they can't score, and then they finally score 3 goals last night, and they give up 5. So Calgary's just a disaster right now. It's going to take a leap of faith for me to put any hard-earned money on the Flames at the moment. Alex now with us. Alex, thoughts on last night?
Yeah, it was a light card, and some spots that we liked in that. Like I said, Flames game, new goals would be coming, but didn't get the first period over. Did get that full game over. Like I said, cash with the bargain bin, as did Matt. So that was a successful game. And then that Columbus game, like I said, we took a shot. We liked Greaves. We liked that spot for Columbus. But, Washington, I said it, they are the better team. It's just a matter of whether they could put it together, and they did. Ovechkin getting on the board, and we always talk about that. Even at his old age, there may be nights where he's, you can't find him with a telescope, but the nights where he does show up, then that's when that team really brings their A game because he kind of brings them along. Even when he's not showing up, he's still a vocal leader and a presence. And you can tell when him and Wilson, those are the two guys who are really still, even at their age, the lifeblood of that team. And when those guys get rolling, the rest of that team gets rolling. So it was a good win for Washington. It was a tough loss for Columbus. But like I said, Friday cards can be a little tricky. So here we are onto a Saturday, some really good spots. Not betting everything in every game, but there's a couple of spots that really stick out for me today.
There is one game, maybe two, that I don't have a bet on. I've got a bet on everything else. Some bet on everything else tonight. It is today. I think it's a really good card, indeed. No question about that. And yeah, good point there by Rome Ticklin. There we go. Flames might be first to fire a coach. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's possible.
Ryan Uska, here's the thing with Ryan Uska. Ryan Uska was put in a spot where you could tell they were starting to rebuild. It's like the Luke Richardson effect. Is that the guy you're going to keep if you eventually turn the corner? I'm not so sure about that when it comes to the Flames.
But here's the thing: are you going to go out and get a DeBoer? No, like he's going to turn your season around. Like,
no.
Who would you
and
get?
DeBoer's not going to want Calgary's situation. I guarantee you, DeBoer's not going to a rebuilding situation. He'll go to LA if Jim Hiller ever gets canned or something like that.
Right.
Team that's at least on the precipice at the moment of maybe winning games. That's not the case right now, or winning a Stanley Cup or contending at least. That's not the case with Calgary.
And that totally seems like a Calgary hire too. If Hiller gets fired in LA, they just go and pick him up, which would be a terrible fit. But I could totally see that happening as well.
Yeah, they like to go on the cheap as well, and they're trying to get that damn new arena built, and it's taken forever. All right, let's get into Saturday. It's a huge card, and this one's starting in about 20 minutes, 12:30 Eastern puck drop here. Islanders and Flyers. Philadelphia minus 115 home favorite, 6 the total. I don't have to speak twice about this other than to say I'm on the over again with the Islanders. Now, eventually one of these games has to go under for the Islanders. You would think so, and it is an early game. It's always, who knows? I've seen both sides of the coin. I've seen 2-1, 3-1 hockey in these real early games. I've seen 6-5 hockey in these real early games as well. So the Islanders have not had a game fall below 6 goals total this season. Their offense is clearly better. Their defense is clearly worse. And the goaltending from Ilya Sorokin. Now, this is going to be his first start since they announced the new goaltending coach from Russia, his native country. So maybe that's going to make him more comfortable. Maybe that's going to give him a better opportunity for success and play better. But I got to see it before I believe it because it hasn't been a great start for him. But yeah, I'm on over 6 here. That's the only. Actually, no, Emil Heineman. Yes, everyone's already mentioning it in the chat. How do you not bet him? You're still getting an amazing price, over plus 400 for him to score a goal, Emil Heineman, and he has scored in 3 straight games for the New York Islanders coming into this afternoon. So, yeah, that's an obvious look there is Emil Heineman to find the back of the net for the New York Islanders. Tyson Forster's worth a look for Philadelphia, plus 270. He's scored in back-to-back games. And Sam Ersson, by the way, confirmed in net for the Flyers in this early start affair. Alex, what do you think here, Islanders-Flyers?
Yeah, I kind of posted it on Twitter a little bit. I'm waiting for the first period over live, so I will mention that in the chat and try and hammer that. Maybe look for the over 5.5. Like you said, at some point this overrun's going to come to an end. And like I said, a day game could be a little tricky, especially with the Flyers. The Flyers are a team where
Philly can play defense, and their penalty kill has been good. I agree. This could be the spot.
That's the thing. I'm right. They feel like a more defensive team during the day too. Which it's hard to quantify because we've seen Philly just be wretched on defense no matter what time of day it is. But there's been some day games where there's been a little bit of a slow start. So I'm going to watch and wait and look for first period over. And if I'm seeing the increased pace, maybe I'll jump in and grab a little bit of that full over as well.
All right, good stuff. All right, next up, this is also a matinee affair, 3 p.m. Eastern. Colorado, Boston. We got the Avs minus 200 road favorites, 6 the total here in this game. I think Boston, Jimmy Murphy didn't look smart early in the season because Boston was, winning games. Remember how they beat Washington 3-1, very first game of the season. And I remember Jimmy Murphy in preseason. He was adamant. He was in our group chat saying, I'm watching this team in preseason. Their defense stinks, guys. Like he was really, really adamant that he says this blue line's not going to be very good. And it took a while, but it's not been very good the last few games. My goodness, Bruins are just giving up goals in bunches. Goals left and right. 7-5 loss, obviously, to Anaheim on Thursday night. That was a sweep of the board for me in that game. I had over by Fecta, Anaheim money line, Anaheim team total over. So that was a great result. There is Russell Deck. has brought up the one thing that I just, did a double take. Now, Boston's had better teams, obviously, the past few years, but they have actually dominated Colorado here at TD Garden. I think it's like 4 straight wins over Colorado here at home for this Bruins team. But it's a totally different Bruins team, a worse Bruins team than any of those. You got Colorado off a hard fought. They probably deserved the 2 points. They outplayed Carolina, but they ran into Freddie Anderson playing great, and they lose in the shootout in that great game against Carolina, 5-4 in the shootout the other night. It's interesting to see how this goes. I could only look at Colorado. I'm going to still take Colorado team total over 3.5, even money in this game. I don't see how they don't light up this Bruins team defensively. Like, Bruins are just really, really struggling as far as keeping the puck out of the net right now. Now, it will be Swayman, and we do trust him a little bit more than Korpisalo. But that blue line is struggling in front of him, and the more that goes on, I don't know if we can fully rely on Swayman to be a brick wall moving forward. Not to mention Hampus Lindholm might miss another game. He missed the Anaheim game, and that's by far, at the moment, other than McAvoy, their best defenseman on the blue line. And without him, that hurts. Wedgwood expected to be a net. I could maybe get there with the full game over 5.5 as well. The one thing about Wedgwood, he got pulled against Carolina, and remember what I said going into that Carolina game on this show, Alex, that the more Scott Wedgwood plays, the more teams are going to exploit him maybe a little bit. The more film that's out there, they can scout his tendencies, scout his weaknesses, and maybe have a better chance for obviously success against a guy like Scott Wedgwood. So that's something to keep in mind, that maybe he's been a great story for Colorado, but maybe he's a little bit more vulnerable to struggle the more he plays, because other teams know what kind of style he plays and how to maybe find his weaknesses. So full game over, a mild lean, but primarily I'm focusing in on the Avs team total over 3.5. Off a loss, starting a road trip. Boston's not defending well, so I think the Avs can get 4 here. Boston, Alex, what do you think here? Colorado, Boston.
Yeah, I like this full game over too. And I was just kind of looking back at the days and kind of layout of when these teams play. They've played a few day games in their history. Looking back, February 21st, 2022, that was a President's Day game. January 18th, a Martin Luther King Day game. All those games went over. So there's been a high history of overs with these two in the daytime. Like I said, Boston not playing that well defensively. Colorado, I feel where this game may be going up and down. And like I said, no matter who's in goal right now for Colorado, I'd be leaning toward overs, but especially if it is Trent Miner, because Miner, for what we've seen him play in spots, and especially coming in relief, he looks okay, but he's not a guy that I feel you can trust for 60 minutes to, stop two, he's going to give up 2 or 3 goals, I feel like. So at 6, this is a cheap enough price. I don't have to wait for it in game. Just grab it now.
Oh, I give him credit. I thought Miner came in and played real solid for Colorado in relief of Wedgwood the other night against Carolina. But starting is a different story. And we don't know who's going to be obviously in between the pipes yet for the Colorado Avalanche. So we will see if we can let you know before the end of the show if there's an update on who's going to be in net by that time. All right, next up, this is a 5 p.m. Eastern start time here between the Anaheim Ducks and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa minus 190, home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. Can you believe Tampa 1-6 to start the season and 0-3 at home? They haven't won a home game yet, this Tampa Bay Lightning team. It's just been it is a surprising start, because we did have concerns that maybe is there going to be somewhat of a dip, somewhat of a decline. I don't think we expected 1-6 overall and 0-3 at home coming out of the gate for the Tampa Bay Lightning here. But like I said, it's been everything. Haven't scored nearly as much as we expected. Hot and cold offensively. The defense has struggled. They've looked slow at times. The goaltending from Vasilevsky has been so-so. Hasn't been good. Certainly hasn't been great from Andrei Vasilevsky as far as his play in between the pipes. Although there might be a Jonas Johansson sighting, I should say, today. And it's not confirmed yet, but and right now there's not a huge gap. Right now, I mean, obviously, if Vasilevsky's on his game, he's much better than Johansson. But I'm saying Vasilevsky's current form is not heads and shoulders better than Johansson right now. I'm not kidding either. Johansson's actually been okay at times, but I still don't fully trust him. And Anaheim's rolling in here with confidence. I don't blame Anaheim for giving up 5 goals to Boston with Mrazek in net, because Mrazek's just, he's Mrazek right now. That's all you can say at this stage of his career. They've nice start to this road trip with Nashville, Boston. Probably got to say Tampa's going to be a little bit more difficult than those two teams, but still, the way Tampa's struggling, the way Anaheim's playing, this is an overlay, in my opinion, on the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm taking Anaheim. Quack, quack. Plus 160, splitting it with team total over 2.5, which is a nice price, minus 130. There you go. Ducks money line, team total over split. Cashed it against Boston, rolling right back here. Alex, Ducks, Lightning.
Yeah, I grabbed Ducks plus 160 as well, and I'm seeing that Vasilevsky was at practice with Johansson, so that would make it seem like it's a Jonas Johansson start. Vasilevsky usually not around at all, or only they're limited when it's his start. So that would say Johansson, and that would definitely look for me to be on Ducks at this big of a plus price. Because Tampa just doesn't, they don't deserve to be 2-1 against anybody right now, regardless.
They're still being priced like they're awesome, Tampa. They're not awesome. Not at the moment.
No.
Not at the moment. Yeah. Cutter Gauthier goal, Troy Terry goal. I'm interested with both of them. They've scored in multiple games in a row right now for the Tampa Bay Lightning at this point in time. So those are a couple of the goal props I'm looking at on their side of the equation going into this one. So, and yeah, Nick Paul, great point, Jonathan. They definitely miss Nick Paul. Nick Paul is such an underrated player, such a underappreciated player for what he does and what he brings to this Tampa Bay Lightning team, both ends of the ice, and they miss him. There's no doubt. All right, this game, note the start time. This was supposed to be 7 p.m. Eastern initially, moved up to 5 p.m. Eastern to accommodate Game 2 of the World Series in Toronto, involving the Blue Jays against the Dodgers. So as a result, the Leafs, they will now host the Buffalo Sabres in a late afternoon start in Toronto at Scotiabank Arena. Toronto minus 140, home favorites, 6.5 the total. This is a back-to-back. They were in Buffalo last night. Sabres got the 5-3 win. That game ended up going over the total. We talked about the blue line injuries for Toronto. That blue line's hurting. They're not playing well. There's loose coverage. There's mistakes defensively, turnovers. Odd man rushes allowed. But when you're without a Morgan Riley and you're without a Chris Tanev, two of your better blue liners, that's going to happen. You can't expect Dakota Mermis and Philippe Myers to come in here and play big minutes and thrive. It's just, not going to. Dakota Mermis played his whole career just about in the American Hockey League, and he just cannot trust a defenseman like that. So Riley and Tanev being out hurts. There's no question. And keep an eye on William Nylander. Left the game late in the latter stages against Buffalo. Did not finish the game. There was no immediate update on Nylander's status. It's day-to-day. The latest update, we'll see if he's able to play. He's probably going to try to play this afternoon, but such a quick turnaround. I'm not sure I'm fully expecting Nylander to be available. What we have to talk about is, obviously, we know Stolarz played last night for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that means you're going to see the backup goaltender. Well, Joseph Woll has returned to the team. He's rejoined the team, but he's taking a week to ramp up, just get some practices under his belt, get some time on the ice. They're just not throwing him right back in immediately, coming back from his personal matter, his personal leave. They're going to build him up a little bit before they officially, put him back as the backup to Stolarz. So as a result, it's still Caden Primo, the backup for Toronto right now, and he will start for the Leafs here this afternoon against Toronto. And look who might start here for the Buffalo Sabres. Off injured reserve a couple days ago, and probably will be the guy, our old friend UPL, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, picked it back of Pickle Peppers, might end up getting the start here for the Buffalo Sabres, his first of the season. So not confirmed, but UPL could get the nod here for Buffalo in this game. But the story here and the bet is all about the goaltender. Well, the issues defensively for Toronto. Buffalo's not a defensive juggernaut either. So, Toronto can score Buffalo. And usually with these back-to-backs, if the first game goes over, I kind of get leery of betting the over again in the very next game. But you cannot deny when it comes to Caden Primo, last year, 11 games with the Montreal Canadiens that he started, 1 game already this year with Toronto that he started. All 12 games, all 12 Caden Primo appearances. Last year, this year combined in net. All 12, 7+ goals scored in the game. All 12 over the total. Unbelievable stat. 7+ goals in every Caden Primo start. Last year and this year combined, I'm on over by Fecta here. There you go. Buffalo, Toronto, Alex, what do you think?
This is one where I'd maybe go with the old Matty Rob special. Parlay the over 1.5 in the first period with the over 5.5 and get a little bit better of an adjusted price than 6.5. But like I said, with Primo starting, that's the way you got to look at it. It's goals galore, and that's just the way games roll with him. And like I said, even if it's UPL in net, okay, well, yes, he had a decent start with Rochester on Wednesday night, but he hasn't had a lot of game action. So really, any way you shake it, goaltending wise, the over makes sense here. So I'm just gonna do that small, but parlay the over 1.5 in the first period with the over 5.5.
All right, good stuff. I like it. There we go. The Matty Rob special here, over 1.5 first period and over 5.5 full game. Yeah, that's a good way of approaching it too. Alex Tuck has scored in back-to-back games for Buffalo. Might be worth a look there as well. Josh Doan, again, didn't score last night, but still, he's playing in Toronto. His dad works for the Leafs. I wouldn't deviate from taking a shot, even though he didn't score last night. So those are a couple of the props there I'd be interested in. The Rolodex of options playing on the top line with Austin Matthews for Toronto. Keep an eye on that. I'll probably give Bobby McMahon another shot to score a goal because he's probably going to stay up on that top line. And if Nylander doesn't play, there's going to be another new face alongside Austin Matthews on that top line. So like I said, yeah, Buffalo team total over 3.5 if you're targeting Primo in particular. Now, Primo won his first one and only start this year for Toronto, but Toronto scored 7 goals for him, and he still gave up 4. It was a 7-4 win over Nashville earlier this season. That was Primo's one and only start for the Leafs this season. So just a reminder there that, yes, even though he won, it's not like he shut them down. You know, he still gave up goals in that game, still gave up 4. So keep just a reminder there. All right, Columbus. Is that the next one? Let me just, because everything's out of order because Buffalo, Toronto got moved. Let me just see. No, Vegas and Florida. Vegas and Florida is the next one on tap. We've got Vegas minus 115, road favorite, 6 the total. This is a 6 p.m. Eastern start time. Florida does this a lot. 6 p.m. Eastern start times at home on a Saturday. I don't know why, but that's been their start time of choice, I've noticed.
It's a retirement community after all. So
yeah, exactly. Got to get those folks to bed early.
Hour earlier,
Saturday night. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Sunrise, too, is not downtown Miami. It's obviously a suburb. So maybe the older folks live out there. And, yeah, I got to get them home early. Just one bet here. First period over with Vegas. I mean, it's just been amazing at home. I don't think it's been nearly as strong on the road. There was one game in Seattle that Vegas played earlier this year that stayed under in the first period. But every other game, home and away this year for the Vegas Golden Knights, besides that one game in Seattle, has gone over in the first period. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. First period over. I think the side's tricky here. I'd take Vegas, though, before Florida because I don't trust the Panthers right now. I know the Panthers beat Boston and life and death to beat Boston. It's not like they dominated them. They blew a 2-0 lead. They had to get that late, fluky, crazy bounce goal to end up getting the victory there against Boston. Then they come back home against Pittsburgh. Now, Pittsburgh doesn't know they're supposed to suck. They're playing well. Let's give the Penguins a little credit for the start. But Pittsburgh goes into Florida and beats them the other night. So Panthers aren't in the form I trust against a caliber team like Vegas. So lean Vegas, but primarily I like the first period over in this one even more when it comes to this matchup. Alex, Golden Knights, Panthers.
I'm on the first period over. I grabbed minus 125, but you could wait for this one in game and try to get plus money. Vegas, like you said, 4-0 to the first period over at home, 2-1 on the road. And for Florida, they're 2-7 to the first period over, but the 2 overs have been at home. So I do like the spot. Like I said, keep rolling it with Vegas while it's still October, but this is one where you don't have to really lay that price 125, 130, especially if you see anything higher than 130. I'd advise waiting a couple minutes and grabbing that in game.
There you go. Good stuff. As far as props here for this game, I'd maybe Brad Marchand, Dorofeyev, close shave. Barbashev is heating up, man. He's heating up. Barbashev plus 350 in that kind of range here to find the back of the net tonight or this afternoon. That actually is tonight, this evening. Pavel Dorofeyev. You know what's funny? Bruce Cassidy has Barbashev, Eichel, and Saad, and Barbashev's actually played better with Saad up on that unit with Eichel, too. So it's been crazy to see. It's kind of gotten Barbashev going a little bit. Dorofeyev, Hurdle, and Marner have been obviously a very good line for Vegas
That
as
makes
well.
a lot of sense because he realizes he's got to score because Brandon Saad won't. So
Yeah.
if you look at anybody playing alongside Brandon Saad, you'd be more inclined to take their props because they might actually do something.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, Mackie Samoskevich point. Yeah, Rich, that's not bad. I'm always interested. Now that Marchand Lundell and Cool Mint Lusterinen are together again, we saw them play pretty well in Boston the other night. That might be a line to target. That line's got great chemistry, and we know what they did in the postseason run last year. So that's definitely something I'd be interested in there as well. Looking at Cool Mint with Lundell and Marchand, pretty solid line there, chemistry-wise, and they've proven it in the past. This next game is also, by the way, do we have goaltenders? I should point that out. Yeah, we got Bobrovsky for Florida. Akira Schmid might get the start here for the Vegas Golden Knights.
4-0. He is 4-0 right now.
He is. Yeah, no doubt. Aiden Hill's out, so it is going to be Schmid. Yeah, Aiden Hill's out with the week-to-week lower body injury, and there's Carter Hart's ineligible until December. So This is definitely Akira Schmid here this afternoon, or this evening. I keep saying this afternoon, this evening for the Vegas Golden Knights. All right, speaking of this evening, 6 p.m. Eastern, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. local for Minnesota hosting Utah. We've got Minnesota minus 120 home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. Minnesota, what a weird season it's been for Minnesota. Started out so promising, so well. You know, they had that great shutout against St. Louis, pounded by Columbus. Nice shootout win against LA, lose 2 in a row to Washington, Dallas, and then lose to Philly after that. Beat the Rangers, then lose to the Devils. And I know the shots were 34-31 in the end, 35-31 in the end. But again, another slow start, another bad first period for Minnesota in that game. You just can't keep having slow starts like this and expecting to win. Utah, since joining the league, last year, 4 meetings with these teams, they won 3 of the 4. Utah, they won both times here at whatever it's called now. I'm just going to stick to XL Energy Center. It's what I know. It's to me
Grand Casino Arena.
Grand Casino Arena. There we go. Yeah. I miss XL Energy, but nevertheless, yeah, they won twice here in Minnesota last year, and they're the team that's just rocking and rolling right now, just in phenomenal form. 5 straight wins. They start the road trip with a bang, thumping the St. Louis Blues 7-4. Their best win of the season was probably prior to that when they beat Colorado in overtime. I'm going to buy into current form and take Utah here, plus 100. It's that simple. I like the way they're playing right now. They've had success matching up against Minnesota. 3 of 4 meetings they won last year, both of them in Minnesota. They won. Gustafsson confirmed in net. We'll see if it's Vejmelka for Utah. Not confirmed, but projected. Yeah, I like the way Utah's going. I like the price, plus 100 on the Mammoth for me. Alex, what do you think? Utah, Minnesota.
The arena name change will always be funny to me for just a plethora of reasons that have nothing to do with hockey. But give me Utah as well here, plus 100. Like I said, they're in good form. And Minnesota's just shaky. And Minnesota, even at home, they don't look confident, right? That's always the story with the Wild. We like them at home. You have to pick your spots on the road. But right now, they just look like a mess, especially defensively. So I think Utah can get their offense rolling once again. And I like them on the money line.
All right, Utah here, plus 100 in this game against the Minnesota Wild. So, yeah, they're feeling it. They're in, good rhythm, Rich. You're right. They've played every other day for the most part, and they don't look tired. They look like they've still got – and they're a very young, fast team. I'm not shocked that they don't look tired, and we're seeing that. This has been a great start. Andre Tourigny has been a good coach his whole tenure here. I know there's been some ups and downs, but I think with how thin things were when he first got here, he's a pretty good coach, I think. I think that's safe to say that.
He's a guy where, of course, if Utah continues to rise, he'll rise with them. But if he were to be in another team that's in a situation to, make that push, being in the playoffs and make a push toward being a contender, he would definitely be a guy that I could see teams maybe trying to go after and pluck after. Because, like I said, with what he's done with Arizona/Utah and all the situation and things of you were playing in a city where nobody wanted you, 5,000 fans, to now adjusting to Salt Lake City and making that move. He's done a tremendous job. I think, we don't talk about that enough.
Yeah, I had to deal with a friggin' relocation of a franchise, too, in his tenure as head coach. It's not easy. It's not easy shit to have to deal with if
Not
you're
at
a head
all.
coach.
No.
He's done a nice job with it for sure. Schmaltz has a goal in back-to-back games if you're looking for someone on a streak as far as finding the back of the net. Schmaltz is on a 5-game point streak. Yeah, I'm trying to see who's on a point streak with a decent price. Sergachev actually has points in back-to-back games from the blue line. Mikhail Sergachev for Utah. So there's someone maybe to keep an eye on if you're into the point props here tonight. All right, St. Louis and Detroit got even money, -110 both sides, 5.5 the total. We're taking I haven't divorced the St. Louis Blues, but it's an amicable breakup right now. We're just taking some time apart to think things over right now. Me and the St. Louis Blues at this point in time after these last couple games, which were very disheartening. They lose to the Kings in overtime, took some bad penalties, including one in overtime that cost them. And then, they got Hofer'd the other night against the Utah Mammoth. It was another rough game for Joel Hofer, another slow start, bad start for St. Louis. That's another thing, too. They've had some sluggish starts of late, especially at home. They actually have played better on the road. That's the one thing that's the one thing to keep in mind here about the Blues, that they've actually had a pretty good 2-0 on the road. Now, it's been a while since they've been on the road, and it's not like great competition, Calgary and Vancouver, but they are 2-0 on the road. They played 2 of their best games of the year on the road against the Flames and Canucks. Last year, by the way, the Blues won both meetings against the Detroit Red Wings, 4-0 in Detroit, and then 2-1 in overtime at home against the Red Wings. So this might be the spot. Because I'm staying off St. Louis tonight, this will be the spot they win, probably. And then, look, they are 2-0 on the road. But, yeah, this is a pass for me. We'll see how it goes. Detroit, I think, is probably going to want to bounce back. They have not played since dropping 2 in a row to the Sabres and the Islanders. 7-2 thumping they took to the Islanders the other night. So that's a loss that Todd McClellan said, we're starting to revert to our old habits again. It's what he said after that Islanders loss. So you would think there's definitely going to want to have, a better performance here in this game tonight against the St. Louis Blues. So I could see Detroit stepping up, playing a good enough game, and certainly they can win, if they play the way they did prior to these last 2 games. So this is just a pass for me. Stay off. This is one of the games I don't have a whole lot on. Totals-wise, it could go either way, although both games did stay under last year with the Blues and the Red Wings. And if it's Binnington, he definitely has established himself early in the season, as the better goalie over Hofer. He already is, but maybe a bigger gap because of Hofer's early season struggles. John Gibson's projected, but not confirmed. But after Cam Talbot got lit up by the Islanders, you would think John Gibson's going to start tonight for Detroit. Alex, anything here for you? Blues, Red Wings.
Yeah, I like this draw. So the first draw that I'm on, I grabbed it plus 330, which is still available at FanDuel. And, of course, we're also going with a player to score the game-winning goal in overtime. Let's go with Alex DeBrincat at 60-1 there for Detroit.
All right, there we go. DeBrincat to maybe find the back of the net in game-winning style. All right, next up, we've got Columbus-Pittsburgh. Metro Division rivalry here, border rivalry, Ohio and Western Pennsylvania. It's a nice little regional rivalry here. We've got Pittsburgh -120, home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. So I said it the other day, I hope someone had Pittsburgh plus, because Pittsburgh is a team right now. Forget what you thought they would be before the season. With them playing the way they are and winning games, for me at the moment, that is, they are a bet on or pass team. It's either I bet on Pittsburgh or I pass, because right now, while they're feeling it and they're finding way and they're winning these games, and Crosby, I can't say enough. Crosby's been just spectacular again. Not that we should be surprised, but again, he is not carrying Pittsburgh because they've had other sources stepping up for them. But Sidney Crosby's been such a huge component of this strong start once again for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Defense hasn't always been great, but the one thing they are, and another thing that's gotten them over the hump here early in the year to this surprising great start that they've had, 6-2 to begin the year, is under Dan Muse here, the new head coach. Their work ethic is off the chart. Really, it is. They're hound pucks. They're dogged and determined. And it's been line 1 through 4. It's been all 3 defensive pairs, and that's been impressive for Pittsburgh. Now, there is a scheduling advantage here for Pittsburgh as well, because Blue Jackets are rolling in here on a back-to-back following the 5-1 home loss to the Washington Capitals last night. Pittsburgh's got the rest advantage. They've been off since the Thursday night game in Florida, where they won 5-3 against the Panthers. 4 straight wins for the Penguins going into this matchup. Head-to-head, this has been a kind of a split series, 6-4 over the last 10 meetings for Pittsburgh, but Columbus has won 3 of the last 4 head-to-head versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh did win the most recent meeting, though, here in Pittsburgh, 6-3 back in March. One interesting nugget is 4 straight overs head-to-head between the Blue Jackets and the Penguins going into this game. Arturs Shilov's confirmed in net for Pittsburgh. Merzlikins, probably it will be Merzlikins. I'd be shocked if it isn't. It's a back-to-back. We saw Jet Greaves last night, so we should see Elvis Merzlikins tonight. I'm just going to bank on series history here. 4 straight overs. I believe all of them, too, cleared 6. Yes, they did. 7 goals, 8 goals, 7 goals, 9 goals. So, yeah, over 6.5. I'll bank on the series history. And I don't trust Merzlikins. I know he played really well against Dallas. I will say that. Played very solid. But need to see it again here from him against a Pittsburgh team that's playing with some confidence offensively. So, over 6.5 for me. Pittsburgh or pass from a side perspective. And a good note by Jonathan there. Jackets were 2-10 last season on the second half of back-to-back games. So, not a good track record in this spot. New season, but something to be aware of. Alex, what do you think here? Columbus, Pittsburgh.
Maybe Pittsburgh and over 4.5 probably would be a good look. This is a pass for me. Like I said, this is a large slate of games tonight, and there's spots that I really like more than others. So this is a game where I didn't have anything. So just moving aside.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, as far as props. Whoops, hold on one sec. We had our screen close on us, but we had the prop screen up here for. There's a couple that I was on. Kent Johnson for Columbus. Was interested in that. I think there's some Columbus players too. I think Fantilli's had some success in the past against Pittsburgh in particular. So, if you're looking for someone that's maybe had good head-to-head success. I mean, Crosby scored in 4 straight games. He's been magnificent. There's no question. Here's one I'll throw, a little long shot dart out there. The defenseman for Columbus, and I like him. I've mentioned his name multiple times. Denton Mateychuk. He's actually scored back-to-back games for Columbus. He's 11-1. To find the back of the net tonight. Why not? Put a couple bucks on it. Who knows? And you're going to, and obviously, again, he's scored in back-to-back games. You're getting a great price, and he's definitely, like I said, playing with great confidence right now. So I will dabble in the Denton Mateychuk goal prop tonight at plus 1,100. Yes, and Malkin, that's a good point by Bailey, but Malkin's been a lot better this year. Malkin looks healthy, and effective, way more than he did at most points last year, no question. All right, next up, Ottawa and Washington. Battle of the nation's capitals going head-to-head here tonight. We've got Washington minus 130, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Great win for the Caps last night, 5-1. God, Carberry can coach, man. Unbelievable, this guy. He's done such a great job with this Washington team. Now they're on a back-to-back, though. That is worth noting, so a little tricky spot. Charlie Lindgren will probably start after seeing Logan Thompson last night for the Capitals. Linus Ullmark in net for Ottawa. And Ottawa struggling mightily, of course. No Brady Tkachuk for them. Combination of the defense and the goaltending hasn't been great, and their offense has been spotty or inconsistent, up and down. But they got themselves not an easy win, and they made it tough on themselves. I mean, Philly was pushing pretty good late in that game, but Ottawa hung on and got the victory against Philadelphia, and a very important win to give them some kind of morale boost, some kind of confidence boost going into this game here against Washington. I'm going to take a small shot on Ottawa here, plus 110. Small dog, rest advantage, finally getting a win, little positive momentum now that maybe Ottawa can find a way here in Washington tonight. And they played Washington really going back to a couple of years now. They've played Washington very tough. Every Washington win in this series in the last 3 years has been a dogfight for them. 1-goal wins, multiple shootout and overtime wins. And how about this? This is definitely a draw that stuck out like a sore thumb to me with the Caps and the Sens. We've got 6 of the last 8 meetings between the Sens and the Capitals going past regulation. So I think we've got real overtime potential here. Ottawa's gone past regulation 2 of their last 4 games overall. So dog and draw. Ottawa plus 110 in the draw for me here with the Sens and the Caps. Alex, Ottawa, Washington.
Draw season merch now available at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. I mean, you basically nailed it. 4 straight meetings, 6 of the last 8 have gone past regulation. 2 of the last 4 for Ottawa. Grab plus 350 this morning.
All right, there we go. Yeah, this draw just jumped off the page. When it's 6 of the last 8 head-to-heads that have gone past regulation, you take notice. And I definitely did that when it comes to Ottawa and Washington. Tom Wilson has scored in back-to-back games. Maybe worth a shot here as far as the Capitals. Keep an eye on this kid. He's finally scored last night. They've put him in the lineup, and they've put him now on the second-line center for Washington. Actually, they dropped him. Justin Sourdif. Keep an eye on him with Protas and Leonard. Leonard, obviously, we've talked about it. He's been heating up a little bit lately. So those are a couple of props on the Washington side. Parlay Pinto, it goes without saying. I'm looking at him to score a goal. Ridley Gregg, there's probably value with Cousins and Perron. And I don't know if it's going to be this way for sure, but Nick Cousins got some time with Stützle and Batherson on the top line for Ottawa. So if it stays that way, there could be some good goal prop value tonight with Nick Cousins if he does indeed play on that left wing side on the top line with Stützle. So that is definitely a lineup thing to keep an eye on. It. If he does, I'm going to be pulling the trigger on Cousins here, maybe to score a goal tonight for the Ottawa Senators, plus 900 in some spots for him to score. That's a price you got to bet if he's going to play on the top line. I'm just waiting for official lineup confirmation of that. All right, next up, we've got Montreal and Vancouver. Pretty much even money. Actually, Vancouver, a slight home favorite here, minus 115 in this game. The total sitting at 6, pretty much across the board. When I look at this matchup here, Habs and Canucks, got Montreal coming off a very disheartening loss to Edmonton. They looked like they had beat Calgary. They played Edmonton on a back-to-back. They were up in the third period. Looked like they had the driver's seat. They were in the driver's seat to get the win, but they couldn't put the finishing touches on that win. Calgary comes back. Some dubious officiating, I will say. That's a joke of a misconduct call they gave Josh Anderson. Everybody shoots the puck in frustration sometimes, and it's never called like that. So that was rather shocking. But at the end of the day, while there was some dubious calls against Montreal, at the same point in time, you do have to get a save from Montembeault, and he wasn't able to give it to the Montreal Canadiens, continuing the struggles he's had. Really, the only thing I'm waiting on here is that Jakob Dobisch is going to be in net, because he's kind of taken over for now as the goalie in better form right now for Montreal. It's Jakob Dobisch. No question about it. He's just been in better form for the Montreal Canadiens of late. And this is a tricky return home from a pretty long road trip spot for Vancouver. They've been away a long time, Adam Foote's team, and it ended with them with a whimper, where they lost the last couple of games to Pittsburgh and Nashville, getting outscored 7-2 in those games, but a long 5-game roadie, and now you're back home. And you're also playing, let me just count this up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is going to be your 6th game in 10 nights. And you've been traveling in between each game. Now you're at home, first game back. I'm probably going to be on Montreal either way. I'm definitely going to be a little bit more excited about taking Montreal if we get that Dobisch confirmation here in net tonight. But Montreal minus 105 very much should make my card at some point. What do you think here, Alex? Montreal, Vancouver.
Yeah, Habs minus $1.05 will make my card regardless of who starts. But if it's a Dobisch start, I will be matching that with Vancouver to score first goal in first period plus 140. And should that cash in, I'm taking those winnings and putting it right back on Montreal live, adding more to that stake. So I like Habs to win the game, but that's the way I'll be attacking it, specifically if it's Dobisch. Still playing Canucks first goal of first period, and then using those winnings, should I cash it, to play on Habs live while they're down a goal.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. I like the approach there, and well thought out by Alex there with the Habs and the Canucks. As far as props in this game, let me just see here. Josh Anderson, who's streaky, scored in the last game. Plus 600. I could see that being, maybe worth a look here. Because like I say, usually when he finds the back of the net, he's kind of one of those players that can score in bunches. Newhook, Kapanen, and Demidov always look threatening when they're on the ice. So, either one of anyone from that trio for the Montreal Canadiens, I would say worth a little bit of a consideration as far as goal props are concerned. And then for the Vancouver Canucks, all right, let me see here on their side of the equation. Max Sasson centering Besser and DeBrusque. I've liked some of their game lately. There's definitely, I think, a little value there on him. Sasson centering that line. Lucas, how about that? We haven't even talked about this yet. I'll get Alex's thoughts on it right here. Lucas Reichel traded from the Chicago Blackhawks to the Vancouver Canucks, and it looks like he'll debut on the fourth line tonight for the Vancouver Canucks. But just your thoughts on the trade, to say the return. I mean, we're not talking about Lucas Reichel being Tony Amonte there on the Chicago Blackhawks, but nevertheless, the return for Chicago in that deal was yawn-inducing.
Ridiculous.
Yes.
Ridiculous. I don't understand how off of, especially the win that the Hawks had, right? And everybody's talking about, well, what can this team really do? And then you go and trade Lucas Reichel, who you've been trying to trade since fucking August, and get a fourth-round pick in 27. Realize if we need more draft picks. I didn't understand. Great trade for Vancouver. I think he's going to be a tremendous fit there. I think this kid could have a decent career being a bottom six guy who can give you some offensive punch. But yeah, I don't understand the return back for the Hawks. That's a weird move by Kyle.
It is. Yeah, it is. It feels like a dump. That's what it does. And certainly felt that way.
Go get a defenseman. Package him with Connor Murphy and get an upgraded defenseman or upgrade on your bottom six, another centerman. Do something that's useful now. What's a fourth-round pick in 2027? Watch him pan out to be nothing, or hopefully he's packaging a trade down the road.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just that was head scratching. I was like, well, that's it. That's all they got, really. Conditional draft picks, and that's it, really. So yeah, it was just surprising the timing of it. Coming off a huge win, against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So just very interesting to see that this is the timing they decided to go with for that deal. But we'll see what kind of. There you go, Jonathan saying Reichel has zero value. Well, there you go. Maybe they couldn't get more than that on the open market. But nevertheless, he's got to change of scenery. Maybe it's going to help him because you're right. It was never the Lucas Reichel they were hoping to get in Chicago out of him. So maybe change of scenery. That can help a lot of players. It's helped a lot of players in the past. Maybe it will help turn Lucas Reichel's career back around.
He was like so many other players in Hawks history was miscouted. They thought he was going to be a top six blazing scorer, and he just wasn't. He's a bottom six grinder who can give you some goals here and there. Like he was on a hot streak right now. He may go 2 weeks in Vancouver without getting a goal, and then all of a sudden you'll have 4 points in 5 games. That's his game.
Yep, no doubt about it. Good point. All right, next up we've got LA and Nashville. Oh, Jesus, LA minus 130 road favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Get this fucking game out of my face, man. I mean, just like, gosh almighty. Pass. Not doing anything with this game. I'm not taking the Kings minus 130 on the road. I don't want anything to do with Nashville. Credit to them. Got a little win the other night against Vancouver. I think Vancouver kind of ran out of steam, kind of ran out of gas there at the end of that road trip. These two teams, not a chance. I'm not interested in any of them. I'm not going to watch this game, let alone bet it. So there you go. Pass for me. Nothing to see here. Alex, what do you think? Kings, Predators.
Throw away all the dozen years of Nashville dominating LA. Yes, we cashed with those before it, but this is not the spot, especially with Roman Josi out week to week with an injury for Nashville. This is a pass.
Yeah, that's true. That's a big injury. I should mention that. Yeah, the Roman Josi now looks like battling a injury here and out week to week for the Predators. That just came down. Now, what's going to happen? You're going to put Nick Blankenburg in there. You already have Nick Hague on the IR. So you're going to have Nick Blankenburg, Adam Wilsby, Brady Shea, Nick Perbix, Spencer Stastny, and Justin Barron on that Nashville blue line. That's pretty rough right there.
I'm with JD. You lose this game, and if you're the Kings, Jim Hiller shouldn't even land at O'Hare.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. I think at that point, it's like, geez, this might be the cut the cord with Jim Hiller game if they lose it. I don't know if it will, actually, because, with Holland, sometimes it's a little bit loyal. But like I said, it does feel like there's pressure on LA to win this game because Nashville's ripe for the picking. And now no Roman Josi, so that is a concern. But I'll let them try to win this game without me getting involved in it. Kemper might play here, it looks like, for the LA Kings. We'll have to wait and see on that. He did return a couple games ago, started the Dallas and St. Louis games. We'll see if he's back in net tonight for them. And, of course, Saros projected, but not confirmed yet for the Nashville Predators.
Yeah, everybody in the chat was talking draw. Draw.
I can see that.
I can see that. Yeah.
All right, good stuff indeed. There we go. Apparently, we've got a Flyer or Islander goal, so there we go. We like to see that.
All right, and we were already on the first period over live. I did mention that in the chat. I grabbed plus 110. So
yeah, no doubt. So there we go. Keep them coming now. Short-handed goal too. Flyers were on the power play, so Tockett's got a nice penalty kill, but that power play is still a work in progress there with the Philadelphia Flyers. They give up a shorty, Holmstrom, for the Islanders. All right.
How long until Patrick Waugh fires the other goalie coach and names himself goalie coach? I'm just waiting for it. I'm just waiting for it. He's gonna get pissed.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. All right, Carolina, Dallas. We've got Dallas minus 115, home favorites. 6 the total here in this game. You know, I couldn't have been easier, quite honestly, especially the first period over, but full game over too. It couldn't have been easier with the over by fact to Carolina, Colorado the other night. I mean, it was 5-4. It was just goals galore. And now this is, like I said, this is where we see the attrition show up on Carolina's blue line. When you don't have Jacob Slavin, it was already bad enough. And we'd already seen without Jacob Slavin against Vegas, against Colorado, you know, now they're starting to give up goals, even against LA, you know, last weekend without Slavin, starting to give up goals, 3 goals, 4 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals in games. As great as they are defensively, you can't, and they play that man-to-man system under Brindamore. You take Slavin off, it's bad enough. Now Gostisbehere's injured. Now K'Andre Miller, who might be out significant time, although it looks like it's not as bad as they thought. They think it's more day-to-day at the moment for K'Andre Miller. So bit of a relief there, but it doesn't look like he's going to play tonight. So once again, you could be without 3 starting defensemen. You do have a couple guys out up front. They've lost Will Carrier and Eric Robinson, a couple depth forwards to injury as well in that game against Colorado on Thursday night. So definitely a lot of attrition. 3 starting D possibly out once again tonight for Carolina. I mean, for Dallas, you'd like to see this offense come back to life. They only scored 1 against Columbus, 2 against LA, both of them in losses. The Stars forward group, I know the Robinsons have talked about this. It looks like they're just out of sync. Nothing is clicking right now for the Stars offensively, which is a concern, obviously, if you're going to go the route I'm going in this game. But that Carolina D is vulnerable. We're talking about 3 starting D that are out. That's a tough situation, and we have seen the better opponents on their schedule lately find the back of the net against the Hurricanes. Vegas did. Colorado did. Dallas still has talent. Dallas still has game breakers. They need more from Hintz and Rantanen. They've gone cold. They've gone quiet here the last couple of games. We'll see if they can get going. Wyatt Johnston started out red hot, cooled off, but they need other guys too. You know, they need Tyler Seguin. They need some of these other forwards stepping up for this Dallas team. But it can still be a good offensive team. It hasn't been the last couple. But I get the feeling with this depleted, decimated Carolina blue line, this could be a spot that I'm going to trust Dallas offensively to kind of get things going. Meanwhile, on the flip side, like I said, should be Freddie Anderson, I would think, tonight for the Hurricanes. Not confirmed. Awesome he was against Colorado. Over 40 shots faced. He did give up 4 goals, but boy, it could have been worse if not for Frederick Anderson against Colorado. And you could see all of a sudden, we've known this Carolina team, Alex, for years with Brindamore and this defense when healthy. They rarely give up 20 shots on goal in a game or 25 shots on goal. And all of a sudden, here they are with the injuries, 3 starting defensemen out against Colorado, and Colorado's peppering them for over 40 shots. So you can see the difference here. So I'm going to go back to the well with the over by Fecta here with Carolina, Dallas, over 1.5 first period. I got to over 5.5 minus 135 for the full game. There's 6s out there, but there are still a couple 5.5s. DraftKings has one of them. Yeah, there you go. Over 1.5 first period, over 5.5 full game with Carolina and Dallas. I still think as long as Carolina totals are going to be cheap for the first period over, and especially for the full game over, cheap at 5.5 with all the injuries and attrition on the back end, I think there's value to keep hammering these overs in Carolina games until they get healthier on the back end. Alex, what do you think here, Carolina, Dallas?
You have a Dallas team at home that's hungry to get their offense back into rhythm, going up against a Carolina team, been on the road quite a bit, and now having cluster injuries on defense. Brandon Bussey has looked good, but like I said, hasn't been, full on tested. This spot screams first period over. The best price available right now is at Caesars at minus $1.25. I like this all the way up to $1.40 pregame. Anything higher than that, because I'm seeing some 42s and 45s, I would wait a couple of minutes into the contest and grab it in game. But I like this first period over quite a bit.
are trying to monitor the workload this year of Freddie Anderson. So it's not confirmed yet that he's in. Don't rule out that it's a Brendan Bussey spot, maybe, for the Carolina Hurricane. And he is the backup now because, of course, Pyotr Kochetkov remains on IR. So this could be a Brandon Bussey start. It could be. I'm not saying it will, but this is definitely something you're going to want to keep an eye on later on as far as the starting goaltender announcement for Carolina. Aho has goals in back-to-back games. Logan Stankoven. How do you not bet Logan Stankoven here, right? He's going back to Dallas, member of the Carolina Hurricanes, plus 400 or so for him to score a goal. I think it's a great spot, really great spot for him to find the back of the net. Jarvis plus 180 is scored as well for Carolina of late. I'm looking to see up front as Brind'Amour made any changes. Taylor Hall's been elevated to Stankoven and Blake, so Taylor Hall, there's probably some value toward him. They need to get going a little bit more. Hintz and Rantanen, they've been pretty stagnant, pretty quiet. And if they get going, maybe Sam Steele, who's on their line, can be the beneficiary. So I'm going to go to the Sam Steele here tonight for the Dallas Stars, and you're certainly getting a good price for him as well, and that well over plus 400 for him to find the back of the net here in this game. And, of course, you got Rantanen against, he had a cup of coffee in Carolina. So maybe playing Carolina here, gets Mikko going a little bit here tonight for the Dallas Stars. All right, there you have it. Last game now coming up for this Saturday card. It is the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Seattle Kraken. Edmonton minus 180, road favorites. The total here sitting at, looks like 6. Yeah, pretty much 6 prevailing number across the board here in this game. Small over 5.5 bet. And the reason for that is, and it's 5.5 with juice, by the way. I got 5.5 at minus 135 earlier. It's pretty much 6 across the board now. I'd still lean that way. Series history has been nothing but 6+ goals. Recent head-to-head meetings. Every recent game between these teams, Oilers and Kraken, 6+ goals. Now, I know this is a Seattle team trying to change their spots, with Lane Lambert, play a little more defensive, and they played a really solid road game in their final road game of that trip against Winnipeg, 3-0. But, first game home off a very long road trip. We've talked about how Seattle's played a ton of games in a short period of time. They could be a little sloppy and behind defensively a little bit tonight. I could see this has been a very long road trip for them, and I could see them possibly having some issues and having some struggles here in this game against the Edmonton Oilers, who still have some pretty good firepower. And that firepower finally came to life for Edmonton against Montreal, by far their best offensive showing of the season for sure. So just a little bit on the over 5.5. Lean still to the over at 6. The side is very difficult here for me in this game because I don't want Seattle. It's just such a long road trip they had, and they're back home. But I don't want to lay minus 180 with Edmonton when they had a huge road trip. They went to home to face Montreal for one game. Now they're back on the road again. Like, they've had a lot of travel too. It's not like Edmonton's rolling into Seattle fresh as a daisy either. But if you made me choose, I would lean Edmonton here. I think it's a little tougher for Seattle coming back home following a lengthy excursion away on the road. Alex, what do you think here? Our final game, Edmonton, Seattle.
This is another pass for me. Like I said, it looks like it could be a rough spot for Seattle, and it should be a game where Edmonton can, get themselves right. Maybe you can get back on the track as far as offense goes, blow out Seattle. They should, but how many times have we said that about Edmonton in a spot where they're, minus 180, minus 200? Oh, we like their team total, like them blow a team out, and then they have kind of a lethargic effort. This is one I'm passing.
All right, there you go. As far as props, I forgot to mention about the Detroit game. Emmett Finney. I'm back on Emmett Finney again for the Detroit Red Wings. I don't know why that popped into my head just now, but I am back on the Express there. There's a few props I like here in this spot. I like Podkolzin for Edmonton. Plus, there's some good plus money shots in this game, I think. Mangiapane at plus 450 for Edmonton. Eberle at almost plus 300 against his old team. The Edmonton Oilers, of course. He's faced Edmonton a bunch, obviously, with Seattle, but still, I could see him maybe making an impact. Mangiapane, plus 450. Eberle at almost plus 300. This David Tomasic, plus 550, and he's playing up the lineup finally for Chris Knobloch. They've been experimenting with Tomasic on the top 6. He may be bumped back down again, so keep an eye on that, but it still might be worth a look. Savoy might get some time with McDavid and Draisaitl here tonight. So if that's the case, probably a little value there with Matt Savoy. And as I mentioned for Seattle, like I said, Eberle, Berkeley Catton, first home game for Berkeley Catton as a member of the Seattle Kraken. So maybe this is the night he gets on the board and finds the back of the net for the first time, and certainly good value. He stays on the top line with Beniers and Eberle. So I think that's worth a prop bet as well, a goal prop bet for Berkeley Catton, the rookie. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. 484 live viewers on a Saturday. Awesome stuff. We thank all of you. We appreciate all of you for that. And get to wizardsportspicks.com. Huge card this weekend from pretty much all the handicappers. Definitely for me. No shock there. NFL, college football, NHL, NBA, all going on this weekend. It's been a great run on the site. 10-5 all sports run. 17-8, I believe it is, NFL and college football runs. So it's been great on the website. So check it out, wizardsportspicks.com. I'm there. Alex P. Smith is there. Matt Robinson is there. Tons of great handicappers, single game premium picks and pick packages available, multi-pick packages. Check it out, wizardsportspicks.com. And check out the Patreon page, patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 per month. Great response. We'll have the card, the full card, posted by 3 p.m. this afternoon. Alex's card will be up. My card, full card will be up. I put the afternoon plays up already, but the full card, including all the evening action, will be posted by 3 p.m. Eastern time. Get on board. The daily betting card, we've had definitely more profitable cards than not so far to begin the season. So, like I said, been a great start, great response. Goalie charts, totals charts, all the bonus content. We're going to have our first exclusive live betcast for Patreon members in November. So definitely get signed up before then. And of course, our daily betting card gets posted each and every day. Sides, totals, player props, every day posted on the Patreon page for members. And your subscription goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping us going long term. So make sure you get on board. $10 per month, patreon.com/Ice Guys.
And also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Yes, we have some new merch available in the store, and we had to do it. Honor our boy Frank Nazar, the Chicago Blackhawks, all these bargain bin caches. So you can get some Get Franked merch right now at the Ice Guys store. We've got caps, we've got hoodies, and we got t-shirts available for a limited time only. And for the next 2 days, you can save 25% off of orders, $70 or more. So definitely want to hit the redeem button at the top of the homepage, add all of your merch to your cart, and if you have an order of $70 or more, you'll be able to save 25% off that order today and tomorrow only. That's at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
There you go. Check it out. Get the gear and the merch at the Ice Guys store. All right, bargain bin special and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
Where the kings and queens shop.
Thanks to all our sponsors, including Royal Cannabis, royalcannabisshop.com, 20% off with promo code ICEGUYS. All right, bargain bin special of the night. Holy mackerel, what a night last night. Two bargain bin special winners. Matty Robinson had Blake Coleman for Calgary, and in that same game, Alex had the captain for Calgary, Michael Backlund, and both of them found the back of the net. We'll see what we can do for an encore here on this Saturday. Lots to choose from. Alex, bargain bin special.
We will head up the street to Grand Casino Arena with the Utah Mammoth taking on the Minnesota Wild. And I'm going to go with Michael Carcone, anytime goal scorer for the Mammoth. You can get him at FanDuel right now at plus 600. So 6-1 shot on Michael Carcone, anytime goal for the Utah Mammoth. That's my Saturday bargain bin special.
There we go. Michael Carcone for Utah at a very nice price there for Alex with his bargain bin special of the night. My bargain bin special for this huge slate, and it is a huge slate. There's a lot to choose from here today in this one. Let me just see here. There was a couple that I had my eye on. Oh, yeah, there's two. There we go, two. Close shave Barbashev, Ivan Barbashev for the Vegas Golden Knights. He scored in back-to-back games, heating up again. Streaky goal scorer, we know that. Still playing with Jack Eichel on the top line. And I think definitely worth a look at the price we're getting, considering consecutive games with a goal for him. So plus 400 for Ivan Barbashev for Vegas. And we're going to go for a good old-fashioned revenge goal prop spot. Give me Logan Stankoven for the Carolina Hurricanes, plus 400 against Dallas. Going back to Big D, where he once was as a member of the Dallas Stars, now with Carolina. Logan Stankoven gets on the board tonight against his old team, plus 400. So Ivan Barbashev, they're both plus 400, actually. Ivan Barbashev plus 400, Logan Stankoven plus 400 for my bargain bin specials of the night for this big Saturday card. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Yeah, let's head down to Big D, Dallas and Carolina. And like I said, you got Carolina dealing with cluster injuries. You got the Stars needing to get their offense rocking and rolling. And you can get this first period over 1.5 minus 125. Dallas 3-1 at home to the first period over. All three first period overs for Carolina this year have come on the road. So that's a fantastic price and I think a great spot. Hurricane Stars first period over 1.5 minus 125. My Saturday best bet.
Good stuff. Carolina Dallas first period over 1.5 for Alex with best bet. My best bet. Did we cash with them as a? Yes, we did. We used them as a best bet. This team. This is a side best bet for me, not a total tonight. Usually I go with a total, but side this way. We had them as a best bet earlier this week when they went to the Saddle Dome and they beat the Calgary Flames, and I sang the old En Francais theme song, and we'll do it again. Bleu, blanc, rouge, le Canadien. Montreal Canadiens. That never gets old. At least not to me. Maybe some people are saying, hey, Ian, shut the fuck up. But hey, it is what it is. It's a free world. Montreal, plus 102 against the Vancouver Canucks. Great spot. Tough loss against Edmonton. They'll be looking to bounce back. They had that game in their grasp, and they let it get away in the third period. I think they'll bounce back. I'm thinking Dobish will be in net. I like it even with Montembeault, even though he's strong. But obviously I expect Dobish. But either way, I like it. Brutally tough spot for Vancouver. Very long road trip coming back home for the first time. And it's a team that really they have struggled to play well at home the last couple seasons. You know, last year they were a better road team than they were at home, Vancouver. So definitely liking Montreal here in this spot. And I like the price too. Plus 102, slight underdog. Montreal, plus 102 against Vancouver for my best bet. A shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Great stuff on this Saturday. Like I said, your support means everything, guys. It's, we're the only hockey betting show that's doing Saturday, Sunday shows every single week during the season. So we definitely appreciate you guys joining us here on this Saturday edition. Just some programming reminders. We're on tomorrow, noon Eastern, Sunday slate and the Monday slate. We'll do both the Sunday and Monday card tomorrow. No show on Monday. Okay? No Ice Guys on Monday, so don't look for us Monday. And then Tuesday's a big day. 1:30 special start time on Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern for the Tuesday Ice Guys show to break down the mammoth Frozen Frenzy card. And then back with you for our first live betcast of the season, Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, Frozen Frenzy live betcast, available to everybody. So excited about that. Cannot wait. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week. Monday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the games, and good luck. We'll see you tomorrow, Sunday, noon Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.